Alright, this is going to be a short video on how to perform your stock setup in MasterCAM. And stock setup is extremely important because it allows you to perform a verify simulation on your program that you've created in MasterCAM. And without being able to perform a simulation or a verify, you're not able to tell whether or not your program is a valid program. It could have a crash, or it could have something internally wrong with the toolpaths that would cause the CNC machine to crash, which would be a terrible thing. So to start off, I've created a program and I've already put a couple of toolpaths on this. I've created a contour toolpath that goes around the outside of the geometry, and I created an open pocket right here in the middle. Now I'm going to go ahead and just run this so that you can see what it looks like when we run a verify simulation. I'm going to go up here under the toolpath manager and I'm going to select this icon here, which will bring us into the MasterCAM simulator. When I hit play, it's going to show a simulation of the cutting tool coming down and actually machining the material away based upon the toolpath that I've created. Just like that. And you can actually even go in and manipulate this around and rotate it to check for problems. And if everything looks good, you can then be rest assured that your program and your toolpaths are correct. So I'm going to close this out now. And what I want to show you how to do is how to set that stock up so that you can perform that verify simulation. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start a completely new one. Don't save on that. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to create a wireframe with a rectangular shape. And we'll just sketch something out in the middle just like we did before. Hit OK. I'll draw a little circle in the middle. Okay. There's my geometry. And as you can see, there's not much to it. And you might be wondering, well, should we extrude this? Should we turn it into a 3D model? What do we need to do? And in the beginning stages of MasterCAM, you don't need to do anything more to the geometry other than this, if this is the part that you're going to create. We're going to create our 3D shape using that stock setup command. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go to Machine, and I'm going to pick Mill Haas. So we're using the Haas CNC machine. And we're going to maximize this little guy right here, this little plus sign. And when I do that, I see that I have Files, Tool Settings, and Stock Setup. Stock Setup is going to bring us into this dialog box. And you'll see those three tabs are at the top now. Files, Tool Settings, Stock Setup. And we'll go into those other ones more later. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to go to this icon right here that says Bounding Box. When you select Bounding Box, it's going to ask you a question here, and always pay attention to this little guy right here, because it's always asking you what you want to do for your next step, and sometimes it's giving you a hint as to what to do for the next step. So select one or more entities, or use Control A to select all. So Control A works fine, but what I usually do is I usually just rubber band around my part using left click down, and then end selection. Now resist the urge to go in and punch in any values here. This will actually create a bounding box in the incorrect Z value. It'll go positive instead of the negative that it should. So just hit the green check. No need to make any changes here for now. Click OK. And then you're going to see this bounding box dialog pop up again. And it shows that our geometry is 4x6, which is correct, by 0. Okay, so we're going to put in the thickness of the aluminum stock that we're going to use for this part. I'm going to put in 1 inch. Now, this is a good area to catch mistakes. If you accidentally drew this geometry, you know, a little bit off and it wasn't correct or something, it might say 4.0037982 or something like that, and that tells you that you have some issues with your geometry and you'll want to go and check that out. But if this matches up exactly with what you've expected it to, then you can go ahead and proceed with putting a value in the Z box here. Once you've done that, you'll select OK, and you'll see I now have phantom lines representing the stock for this part. And we're almost there. So with that, we can continue on with our tool paths. And for this one, I'm just going to do a pocket in the middle. I'm not going to get too carried away. So I'll right click, Mill Toolpath, Pocket, and I'll select the middle circle. I'll use 1/4 inch end mill. And we'll just throw a depth of 1/4 inch in here. Alright, now I'm going to select this little verify tool right here. It's in between backplot and simulator options. We're going to select that. And there's our verify simulation. I'm going to hit play. And now I can see my toolpath run. Okay, so that's how you do it. And a couple things real quick here. I usually turn the performance all the way up to the highest precision. And I will turn the speed close to slow. And that usually gives you the best picture when you're watching this. You can increase this if it's a really long program just to speed through it. But most computers these days can handle full precision, and it gives you the most high definition object here so that you can make sure that you don't have any issues. Okay, that's stock setup. Hope this helps.